I woke up before sunrise, my heart fluttering the way it used to when Daniel was a little boy and had a school competition. Today was his wedding, my only son, the child I had poured my life into. I had stitched a shawl for his bride, Sophia, using the same pattern my mother taught me. Every thread carried love, blessing, and hope for their future. I arrived at the wedding hall early, making sure everything looked perfect. Sophia's family insisted on a luxurious ceremony, gold decor, crystal chandeliers, imported flowers, things far beyond what Daniel and I could ever afford. But I stayed quiet, thinking, if this is what makes them happy, I will adjust. The guests poured in, about 200, all dressed like royalty. I felt small but excited. My son looked handsome in his suit, and for a moment pride washed over me. Then I approached Sophia. She turned, her eyes scanning me from head to toe like I was a stain on her wedding gown. "Oh," she said loudly, "Daniel, your mom actually wore that." People turned, a few chuckled, I froze. Before I could respond, she lifted the shawl I brought, dangling it between 2 fingers as if it were garbage. "And what is this? Some village craft? You expect me to wear this in front of everyone?" Laughter rippled through the guests. Someone whispered, "How old-fashioned." My ears burned, my throat tightened, I wanted to disappear. Daniel didn't defend me, not a word. He stood beside his new wife, looking embarrassed of me, the woman who raised him alone, who skipped meals so he could eat, who worked double shifts to give him a future. Sophia continued the show. "You should have told your mom weddings in this century don't use crochet blankets." Maybe she thought this was a charity event. More laughter. My hands trembled. I felt my heart splintering with every sound. "Sophia, please." I whispered. I made it with, "Oh no, no." She said loudly, raising her hand, "I don't need sentimental junk from someone who can't even dress properly. Save it for whatever people your age do." Her smile was cruel and triumphant. She wanted this. She wanted me humiliated. 200 faces watched as she reduced me to dust. Some giggled. Some pitied me, but no one intervened, not even my son. I felt the ground sway. My legs felt heavy. I placed the shawl on a nearby table and walked away before the tears betrayed me. The hall felt suffocating. Every laugh felt like a slap. When I reached the exit, the cool air hit my burning face. Outside, under the night sky, I finally let the tears fall. The slow, silent kind that come from wounds too deep to scream. I looked back at the hole glowing with lights and music. My son's new life had no room for me, but I didn't curse them. I didn't shout, I didn't seek revenge, not then. That night I made myself one quiet promise, a fragile whisper carried by the wind. I will remember this, and one day they will remember me. And that was the moment everything began to change. I woke the next morning with swollen eyes and a heaviness that clung to my body like a wet blanket. Memories of last night crawled back, Sophia's mocking voice, the laughter, Daniel's silence. Every moment replayed itself like a cruel film I couldn't stop. Still, I forced myself up. Pain doesn't stop life. I made tea, trying to calm the storm inside me. But as the steam rose, something else rose too, questions. Why had Daniel changed so much? Where did they get the money for such a luxurious wedding? And why did Sophia treat me like an inconvenience instead of family? My phone buzzed, a message from the bank. I frowned. Unusual withdrawal detected. Withdrawal. I hadn't taken any money. My hands trembled as I opened the app. The breath punched out of my lungs. Most of my savings were gone. Money I had worked decades to save. Money I planned to use for my health, for emergencies, for a peaceful old age. Money Daniel had insisted I keep in a joint account with him so he could help manage things. I had trusted him. Now the account was nearly empty. A cold wave washed over me. This wasn't an accident. I scrolled through the transactions, and my heart broke all over again. The dates matched their wedding preparations, payments to event planners, jewelry stores, luxury decor companies, and even Sophia's designer wedding gown. They used my life savings to shine at their wedding, without telling me, without asking me, without shame. I sat down slowly, feeling the room tilt. Betrayal wasn't new in the world, but this was a wound carved by my own son. A knock startled me. It was Rafik, my old friend and lawyer. He had come to check on me after the wedding humiliation. He'd seen me leave early. When I told him everything, his face drained of color. Amar, these withdrawals were illegal. You never signed any authorization. I swallowed. But Daniel is co-signer. A co-signer cannot empty an account without the owner's written consent, he said firmly, especially not to fund luxury expenses. This is fraud. Fraud, my son, my flesh, my child I raised with my bare hands. My heart wanted to defend him. My mind forced me to face reality. Rafik continued, you need to secure what's left before they try again. But I didn't move. I just stared at the floor, numb. Meanwhile, miles away in their honeymoon suite, Daniel and Sophia were celebrating their grand new life. Sophia posted photos online, her dripping in diamonds bought with my money, caption, finally living the life we deserve. That word pierced me like a dagger. They believed my sacrifices were theirs to consume. That afternoon, the bank called again. This time the manager sounded concerned. Ma'am, there seems to be another attempt to withdraw from your account today. Another. I felt something inside me harden. That account, I said slowly, needs to be frozen immediately. And as if fate itself agreed with my decision, the manager responded, already done, ma'am, for your protection. I didn't know it then, but that simple action would trigger a chain of events that would shatter Daniel and Sophia's new world. Because the next morning, they would discover that not only were the funds gone, but every financial door they relied on had quietly begun to close. And they had no idea their downfall had already started, not because I wanted revenge, but because they built everything on stolen trust, and trust, when broken, collapses from the inside. While I spent the morning quietly sorting papers with Rafik, the newlyweds were waking up in a luxury hotel suite covered in rose petals and vanity. Sophia stretched like a satisfied cat, admiring her diamond. Covered wrists diamonds my hands had unknowingly paid for. Daniel ordered breakfast as if he were a king. Sophia recorded herself unboxing gifts as if she were a celebrity. Neither of them suspected a thing, not yet, but by noon their perfect world began to crack. The first blow, Sophia tried paying for a spa appointment at the hotel, but her card was declined. Not once, but twice. She frowned, embarrassed, and hissed at Daniel. Your mother probably messed something up with the bank. She looked poor and clueless yesterday. Daniel laughed nervously. Relax, baby, must be a bank glitch. They used another card, also declined. The hotel staff politely asked if they could try again. Sophia's face turned red. Daniel, now visibly tense, opened his banking app. His jaw dropped, account frozen. Insufficient funds, multiple flags for suspicious activity. What the hell? He whispered. But the worst part? There was a notification showing the report the bank had filed for unauthorized withdrawals. Sophia snatched the phone, her eyes widening. She reported us, she shrieked. That old woman actually reported us. My son, who once used to cry if I missed his school play, now looked angry, not at his wife, not at himself, but at me. As if I had wronged him. This is her fault. He spat. She's jealous. She wants to ruin our marriage. Sophia crossed her arms. Well, she picked the wrong girl to fight with. But their fight was not with me. Their fight was with the law, with truth, and with their own greed. The second blow, within an hour, the hotel manager knocked on their door. Sir, your payment for the wedding suite has been reversed. We will need another payment method immediately. Daniel stuttered. Sophia tried to put on her charming smile, but the manager had seen this before. Lavish spending with no real money behind it. If you cannot settle the bill, he continued politely, we may need to contact security. Sophia exploded the moment he left. Tell your mother to fix this now. She won't pick up, Daniel grumbled, looking at his phone, because I wasn't answering. Not out of spite, but because I had changed my number 2 weeks earlier during an account security update. I had forgotten to give Daniel the new one. For once, fate seemed to be on my side. The third blow while the couple scrambled. The wedding vendors were also waking up to bounced payments. By evening, Sophia's phone was blowing up with calls. The event decorator, demanding his full payment, the caterer threatening legal action, the bridal boutique, asking why the down payment. Check bounced, the videographer, refusing to release wedding footage. Sophia's voice cracked under the pressure. This can't be happening, this can't be real. Daniel, sweating, tried to reassure her, but he looked pale, cornered, like a child caught stealing. They thought the wedding was a dream. Now it was turning into a financial nightmare. The family explosion news travels fast, especially among relatives who attended the wedding. Sophia's parents were furious when they learned the wedding wasn't funded by Daniel's career success, but by money taken from me. Her father shouted over the phone loud enough that Daniel flinched. You humiliated that woman in front of everyone while using her money to pretend you were rich. Disgraceful, Sophia cried. Her mother hung up on her, and just like that, her own family stepped back, ashamed of the spectacle. My silence, their downfall meanwhile. I quietly sat on my balcony, drinking tea with Rafik. I hadn't spoken a single word against them. I hadn't taken revenge. I hadn't confronted them. All I had done was protect what was mine. The consequences they faced weren't from me fighting back, but from their own greed tearing down everything they built. They had dug their own grave, and now the dirt was closing in. That night, Daniel called every relative, desperately trying to find me, to blame me, to beg me. He didn't know which, but I was nowhere to be found. For the first time in his life, he felt what it was like to lose me. And their collapse had only just begun. The sun rose slowly the next morning, brushing soft gold across my living room. I sat quietly with a cup of tea, feeling lighter than I had in years. I wasn't happy about their suffering, no mother would be, but I felt something deeper, justice, not revenge, just the simple balance of truth returning to where it belonged. But their storm was only growing. The confrontation they never expected by noon. Someone pounded on my door so hard I thought it might break. I knew the rhythm of that knock. A part of me flinched at the familiarity. Daniel, my son, stood outside, face red, hair messy, shirt wrinkled, nothing like the proud groom from the wedding. Sophia stood behind him, makeup smeared from crying, her expensive jewelry removed, her voice quiet for once. When I opened the door, both stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. Mom, Daniel stammered, why did you do this? I blinked. Calm, steady, do what? I asked softly. You reported us. He snapped. You froze the account. You ruined everything. Sophia stepped forward, trembling with anger. She embarrassed us. She made us look like fools. Everyone's calling us scammers now. I lowered my gaze, shaking my head in disbelief. You embarrassed yourselves, I said quietly. I simply protected what was mine. Daniel clenched his fists. You could have talked to me, and you could have talked to me before taking my savings. I replied. But you didn't. You chose lies and humiliation. He fell silent. Sophia's voice cracked. We're drowning in debt. Vendors are threatening lawsuits. My parents won't talk to me. We have nothing left. Nothing. I looked at her. This woman who mocked my clothes, my handmade shawl, my worth. You took everything from me. I whispered, my savings, my dignity, my place at my own son's wedding. But you, Daniel, choked. You're my mother. That word cut deeper than any insult. I stepped back, my heart steady, and because I'm your mother, I will not fight you. I will not insult you. I will not destroy you. I will simply walk away. They stared at me, stunned. You will face the consequences of your choices, not mine. The truth revealed the next week. The bank, vendors, and relatives gathered at the mediation arranged by Rafik. Sophia and Daniel avoided eye contact as documents were laid on the table, proof of the unauthorized withdrawals, the bounced checks, the luxury purchases made from my account. Whispers filled the room, stealing from his own mother, and after humiliating her in public, what kind of people are they? The same voices that laughed at me at the wedding now looked at them with disgust. Sophia's parents apologized to me with bowed heads. The vendors understood it wasn't my fault. The community that once judged me now defended me, their perfect image shattered in a single meeting. Daniel's hands shook as he signed the repayment agreement. Sophia's pen slipped from her fingers twice. For the first time, they felt the weight of their own actions pressing down on them like a mountain. Not because I wanted revenge, but because truth finally caught up. Their apology after the meeting, Daniel approached me outside, his voice small and fragile. Mom, I'm sorry, really. I don't know why I let things get this far. I looked at him, my eyes softening just a little. He was still my son, but he was no longer the boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street. I placed a hand on his shoulder, just for a moment. I forgive you, I whispered, but forgiveness doesn't mean returning to the past. I need peace now. His eyes filled with tears as I walked away. Sophia watched us from a distance, her pride broken, her arrogance dissolved. They weren't villains anymore, just two people crushed by their own greed and insecurities. But that wasn't my burden to carry. A new beginning for me weeks passed. I repaired my finances. I found joy in small things again, morning walks, sewing, tea with neighbors. People no longer pitied me, they respected me. I wasn't the weak, mocked woman from the wedding. I was the woman who rose from humiliation with grace, who protected herself without cruelty, who let her silence deliver the justice no revenge ever could. Daniel and Sophia moved into a small apartment after selling many of their wedding gifts to pay debts. Their social media displays disappeared, their arrogance faded, life humbled them, and though they still tried to reach me, I chose distance. Not hatred, not punishment, just distance. Because peace is the sweetest revenge a wounded heart can ever taste. Final lines in the end, I did not destroy their world. They destroyed their own. I simply stood back, gathered my dignity, and walked away. And somehow that hurt them more than anything I could have done.